Alright, continuing on. I was having some problems there. I thought it was my battery, but it was actually my memory card, so I put a fresh one in. Where I left off was I was talking about how everything you see from other people and online and in web articles and tutorials and whatnot, it's pretty much 99% bullshit. It's just somebody that is copying and regurgitating the bad information that they were told, because honestly, it takes decades to be a master of beta genetics and beta breeding, and not many people are. And people just copy the info from somebody else that they think is knowledgeable, but in actuality there's only a handful of really knowledgeable people on the planet, and the most knowledgeable people on the planet are not open to the public. They're not online, they don't sell to the public, they have nothing to do with the public, so you don't even know who they are, they don't post anything and whatnot. So okay, the one thing that is true in the other bullshit things is to remove your female as soon as the last egg is done. You also need to remove the male. You want to give him about 20 extra minutes so he can just add a couple extra bubbles beneath the eggs, and that'll help keep some of them in there a little bit. But any more than 20 or 30 minutes is not necessary, and you're going to lose more eggs the more time you leave them in there. And the flat out bullshit lie of, oh, males will eat infertile eggs. No, they don't just eat infertile eggs. They'll snack on them. The other most retarded fucking thing you'll ever hear in a beta breeding thing is to not feed your male for a couple of days before spawning or during the 3 or 4 days of the egg process. Before, they say to leave the male in there with the eggs until they're free swimming and to not feed him. And they say that feeding him will actually trigger feeding behavior, and is more likely to eat more eggs and fry. That's the most retarded thing I've ever heard in my life, and don't do that, for the love of God. Like I said, ignore everything that you hear elsewhere, because it's all just regurgitated bullshit, bad information. If you don't feed your beta, all you're doing is starving your beta and making him deliriously hungry. If you don't feed your beta for those 3 or 4 days, especially if you add on the other couple days before spawning that they tell you not to feed, all you're going to have is one starving beta that's going to snack on those eggs even more. And they do not just eat the infertile eggs, they eat eggs, period. And there are some that are just bad egg eaters that will eat every egg. But pretty much every single male beta that has ever existed will eat eggs over that 3-day period of time. As a beta breeding beginner, the deck is already stacked enough against you. Betas are the hardest fish in the world to breed and raise successfully and have your fries survive. So the deck's really stacked against you. You want to do everything you can to help tilt the odds back into your favor. And leaving the male in there is one of the worst things you can do. None of the eggs will fall out in the first 24 hours unless you disturb the water. Okay? And any eggs that fall out after 24 hours, they're only going to have 2 days until they hatch. So any eggs that hit the bottom and are down there for 48 hours that did not hatch, they were not going to hatch anyway. I know people see eggs on the bottom and they didn't hatch, and they're like, oh, they didn't hatch because they were on the bottom. No, they weren't going to hatch anyway. Being on the bottom had nothing to do with it. So it's the one of the dumbest things you'll hear is that kind of crap of you got to leave the male in there to deposit the eggs back into the nest after they fall out. If they fall out and hit the bottom and didn't hatch, they weren't going to hatch anyway. There's nothing you can do about that, okay? So always remove the male about 20 minutes after you've removed the female, and you want to remove the female immediately. Again, I can get away with it a little bit better than you can. Even if you have a heater in your tank, you're still completely screwing your fry, and you're going to kill a bunch of them and have a much lower survival rate because of the way that it works, and it lowers the temps, and the temperature spikes and then cools and then spikes and then cools with the heater. My room is always the same. It's always 97 degrees, so I can get away with it a little bit better than you can. But you never ever want to breed in glass. And if somehow your eggs were born in glass, you need to transfer the nest into a plastic 5-gallon bucket like I showed you earlier. And let me see here. Okay, here's the I don't know if it's been long enough for this to do this, but it says it's like 85 degrees. 84 degrees, almost 85 in that one. And I dropped the thermometer over here somewhere. There it is. And in this one it is, Jesus, 70. Wow, that's a fucking huge difference. I didn't even think it was going to be that much. But you just saw me put those in there. They've been in there the same amount of time each. And that's almost a 14-degree difference between being in the glass tank and being in a rubber tank. Okay, now are you starting to get the picture and starting to put the pieces together? This is what I'm telling you. Everything you've been told is bullshit. Almost every article or video or tutorial you'll see will tell you that you want to breed in a glass tank. You do not want to breed in a glass tank. And trust me, I have over 2,000 glass tanks. If breeding in glass tanks was better, I would be breeding them all in glass tanks. I've only bred, I think, like half a dozen batches in the last couple of months, only because I had to, because I was out of buckets in glass tanks. I use these glass tanks as conditioning, and the minute they're ready to spawn, I transfer them into an empty 5-gallon bucket and get them set up. So, number 1 rule, don't use glass. Number 2 rule, don't listen to anything you hear online, especially on YouTube. 99% of them is just idiots regurgitating crap from other idiots. And a lot of them are kids that don't know what they're doing, and they see how-to videos somewhere else, so they do that. So if you actually want to have success, you want to actually learn from one of the best, and I am the most successful breeder on the planet. The most successful breeders on Earth of betas only have a 40 to 50% survival rate. I have an 85% survival rate. You might want to listen to what I have to say. I'm one of the only true expert master breeders on the planet. Betas have over 30,000 different types of genetics. It takes a normal person decades to master that. I happen to have a 30-year fish background, and I'm a marine biologist. I was a fisherman before that. I'm a licensed 100-ton United States Coast Guard captain, so that I was a captain of research vessels for the Department of Fish and Game as a marine biologist. I have an entire lifetime of fish background before I ever even had a beta. So I'm a little ahead of the curve on most people, so I picked it up faster, but it's still, I've been doing this a decade, and it takes decades for somebody else to master this, and I've been doing it a decade. And I've got it mastered now. But with over 30,000 types of genetics, it takes the average person a couple decades to master this. So I am the most successful beta breeder. I am the best breeder of the best betas in the world. Another farcity that you'll hear online is the best betas and best breeders come from Asia. That's the biggest lie and idiotic thing you'll ever hear. First of all, betas originated in nature in Asia, so that's the only reason people think that. But the Asian breeders are really, really bad. They haven't evolved, they haven't advanced. They're the same techniques. They breed the same poor quality fish in the same horrible methods that they did 50 years ago, 200 years ago. In the 1800s, a group of roughly 100 of the smartest people on the planet, I'm talking Oxford professors, guys like that, scientists, doctors, the smartest guys in the world from Europe and the UK, they went and traveled and spent a great deal of time and money searching Asia and Malaysia and Thailand for the best betas in the world, and they brought them back home to the UK and to Europe. And since the 1800s, the best betas and the best beta breeders have been in the UK and in Europe, not in Asia whatsoever. That's a falsity. It's only people that don't know better that think that, which, like I said, is 99% of the people that happen to be on YouTube. This is 9 minutes and 30 seconds. I gotta stop.